Hi everyone, my name is Bo, and thanks a lot for coming to this talk. I'm from 42matters, like Christian said, and we're a company based in Zurich, Switzerland, and we make our most bank from providing the app market data to a very wide range of different customers, like from device manufacturer like Samsung to ad networks like Imobi, like AppLovin, like editorians, and to even security company like McAfee, all this kind of stuff. And the app market data is basically the app information you have on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. And on those things, we have the title, the description, the icons, the ranking, review, ratings, all this kind of stuff. And also the insights, like what kind of SDKs are distributed in different apps. And if you also want all the developers that's from Berlin, we also have lists like that. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today. What I'm going to talk about today is about another leg that we built together with this app market intelligence, is the app audience data and app audience intelligence. And before really jumping into it, I would like to do like other speakers like today. I'm going to do a survey, and the question is, please raise your hand if you have a phone that's capable of installing apps on it. Okay, I got some looks like, what kind of stupid question is that? But yeah, okay, that's almost everyone. Let's be asking a different way. If you got a phone that you cannot install apps on it, please raise your hand. Okay, 0. That's probably the highest positive response rate today and the lowest negative response today. And I'm kind of disappointed because I heard Berlin is such a hipster city, so I mean, actually nobody even got a normal phone. So what is app audience data? What app audience data is like all the apps you install on your phone. Like this is an image from the homescreen.me. They are actually a service that you can share your screenshot of your home screen on this website and tell people what your favorite apps are. So if you look closely, you can actually tell, even if you don't know this person behind this phone, you can actually tell what his interest is and what his gender is. So if any of you actually hand me your phone without knowing any of you, I actually don't know any of you, I can actually tell your gender or age or interest actually from what actually you have on your phone. And that's where we started. We started with an app called Appleware, where you actually share what you install and what you remove on your phone in real time. Funny, a lot of people actually did that. And then from that data, we actually see a lot about what the app market looks like, what is trending, what stays on people's phone longer, and also from there, and also a lot of other data like this, we can see, we can get from this a lot of information about what actually user likes. So that's the start point, is the app install graph. It's basically a big table of the IDs, user IDs, like the advertising ID or IDFA, putting together with the app IDs on your phones. For example, here we have 2 users, totally encoded in IDs, and the app ID is, you can see the first user has Facebook, has Pinterest, and Airbnb. The second user has, this is Plants vs. Zombie. I just know it from the ID. And there's the FIFA game. And also, we collect tens of millions of these users, and we build them into a huge graph that connecting users to the apps. And from this graph, you can tell a lot about what apps are frequently installed together. And if you give me a set of users, I can even tell you what other users are likely to be similar to this group of users because they share the same interest by installing the same apps. So we also collect this data in different sources. We have partner apps that actually submitting the full list of apps you installed on your phone. This is possible on Android with the API. Actually, you can get the whole list of the apps you installed on Android phone. And that means we don't have to be integrated into Airbnb, for example, to actually get Airbnb users. We only have to be integrated in a weather app or keyboard app and who have overlapping user with Airbnb. And in that case, we can actually sample Airbnb user from these different sources and reconstruct Airbnb's user base. And the same thing goes with other partner apps. They don't have this privacy setting. They cannot submit this whole list. They can submit part of their list. And from that, we can also try to reconstruct the list because we know what apps should be installed together. And also their partner ad networks, they actually submit. In this way, the user don't send us anything, but we can get from the touch point of these ad networks, if the app actually integrated with ad banner, you know that they hit the ad server or ad exchange, and then you see which partner they come from, and if you collect enough of this data, actually you can also reconstruct the device from that way. And a lot of effort goes into removing the bias in those kind of data, because even if you have the full list of apps, you still are biased by which partner apps you have. For example, if we only have one partner app in the finance industry, then we would think all the Airbnb users are into finance, but that's actually not true. So a lot of our, like I mentioned before, our app market intelligence kind of part of the work we had there comes into here to help us remove the bias there. Another two notes here is this is collected strictly non-PI, non-personal identifying information, because we don't care what your real names are, what actually you did in the app. We don't know, we cannot know that. We don't know what you booked on Airbnb, we just know you have Airbnb. And we also don't collect demographic and interest data from the user. We profile all of them in-house. And this is a very basic graph of how our profiling system works. It's a very classic machine learning schema. Basically, we have devices that come from survey or other third-party sources that are labeled with known demographic and interest, and of course the list of apps installed already. And from our other leg again, that we have topping models of all the apps available on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. And that's almost 6 million apps, and there are thousands, sometimes over 10,000 coming out every single day. And we keep all of those updated, throw it together to train it, and we get a classifier with models of demographics and interest by different apps. So we can tell you, okay, if you see a Pinterest in that list of users with unknown demographics, how likely he's going to be a female and how likely he's going to be a male. And the same thing goes for each app there. And we also have covariance. That means how we know how to put them together to actually give you a probability of this list of apps, the user behind it, how much likely is going to be a female and how much likely is going to be a male. And then that process happens it's very fast after the classifier is already trained, happens in under 100 milliseconds. We can get a list of the segments each users are in. Like this user, the first user are likely to be female, the age range is 25 to 34 and interested in travel and so on. With all this data from the app install graph to the profiles we profile from the app install graph, we can get a lot of also interesting insights into each app. And this is, take Pinterest for example. This is the first one is a gender affinity. The affinity means, let's say the red bar means the proportion of Pinterest users that are female, and the blue bar means the portion of all users that are female. You can see from this graph, the first one means that more or less 80% more likely Pinterest users are female than average users. And the second one tells you like they're 70% less likely a Pinterest user are to be male than the average user. And the same thing goes with the app. For example, Etsy. Imagine people know Etsy. Etsy share a lot of common user with Pinterest. So Pinterest users are like 6-7 times more likely to have Etsy than the average user. The same thing goes with Valelu. This is e-commerce and a lot of other apps. These are top app affinity. It also goes with the interest. So the Pinterest top interests are like yoga, meditation, pregnancy, celebrities, concert. And the bottom interests are antivirus, commuting, computer tech, car owner, and soccer. So you kind of, from this data, you already got a stereotype what kind of Pinterest core users are, and this actually matches what third-party data or what they announced for themselves. They are mostly core users are female between the age to 25 to 45 and interested into yoga and all this kind of stuff. So you're not that unique as you think you are. You're very likely to be similar to a lot of other people. And from this data, you can target already with all of this data. And or also status quo, you already have a lot of targeting options. You can target by demographics, by interest, by behavior. And why the app audience targeting can help you bring it maybe to another level or add to it. There are many reasons. Here are 3 ones that are most likely. The first one is a very strong indicator of the user intent. So a lot of interest data are coming from what website user visited and what kind of search keyword they use, and also Facebook Messenger are doing something like they topic model your conversation and try to get the interest out of that. But app, I mean, maybe at the beginning of the days when you just got your phones, you install app randomly, but nowadays I don't imagine any people do that anymore. They are very careful what goes on their phones. So if you install like Auto Scout 24 or Emo Scout 24, the chance is very likely you're actually looking for a car or you're looking for an apartment to rent or buy. And that also goes to the second one. It's a little bit more specific than targeting by interest, because the app is packaging a certain set of features together that actually differentiate from each other, not in the level that you can see in the interest. For example, here is the Airbnb and Booking. They're both in the same app category. They're both serving the same interest group, but the way they're doing it is different, so they actually attract to different audiences. So like we have a case study now, we are doing it with a company called Mr. B&B. They're called Mr. B&B because they do something similar to Airbnb, but for LGBT. So that's why it's called Mr. B and B, so it's the same B. And so for them, it's more interesting to actually targeting people that actually used Airbnb before, because then they're very familiar with that model, and it's much more familiar with this model than the people who are interested in Booking. So it would save them time and money to actually find the first core audience than really trying all kinds of different experiments, trying to combine different interests, different demographics to drill down to that core part of the audience they are looking for. And the third one is there are some campaigns for some industries like games, for example, it's even harder to be described by the interest, because you cannot really say that I prefer 8-pixel style games, that you cannot describe it very easily with the interest, but you can describe it easily with collaborative filtering, that people who like these kind of games also might like these kind of games. And if you are still interested till here, you may ask how you would make use of this kind of data. We actually now offering 3 different ways. That one is API, one is a picker, and one is a planner. The API is for ad networks and DSPs. They want to access these audience insights in a programmatic way. Like, say, if you want to hook it up with your ad server or with your ad exchange, that when you see an incoming request from the ad exchange, you would want to see, okay, I never see this publisher before, but if I call this API, I could know what could be the audience behind it, then I can hook it up with my system and tell it which campaign I should deliver. And the same thing goes to DSP. They have new publishers coming up. They need to show it to their client in their user interface that what's likely to be behind this publisher, so their clients can make a decision. And we also have an app audience picker. This is the one I embody what I said before. This is for marketeers and agencies, that normally you already have your whole workflow set up. You maybe use Nanigans, AdExpress, or all these kind of tools, or you have a very big in-house schema, or you have an in-house DSP that you set up the whole workflow for doing split tests or all this kind of stuff. You may not want to try yet another tool. You just want to try the data and put it in together with your other split test. And this tool would be for you. For example, for the Mr. B&B, they want to do mail users who have B&B and any LGBT apps. They can do with this tool, or the Deliveroo in that case. We also have suggestions, because we know what kind of users would be overlapping with Deliveroo users. So you can also put your own defined audience in there and then export it as a list of advertising ID. You upload it to Facebook custom audience, your DSP, or you do anything you want with it. And the last one is the Facebook Ads Planner, which is for any kind of Facebook advertisers. Actually, if you are interested to try it out for the app install campaign or some website traffic campaign, you can use this tool. It operates similar to AdExpresso. If you don't know AdExpresso, it's basically you can choose different audience as variants for your targeting, and you can add 2 headlines, 2 text, 2 creatives, and then we can make the split test for you and put it on your Facebook campaign to run it. So I hope you can try them out. The audience API is already out, it's in production. You can go to our website and start trying it already. There's a free trial with our API. For the picker and the planner, it's in private beta. So please contact me. It's very simple, it's Bo at 42matters.com. And I will help you arrange the rest. Thank you very much. And